Namaskar and welcome to this exciting show, Sathology Debunking Mythology. We bring up some relevant topics and debunk them sometimes. And one of the topics, I have a very famous guest with us today. And also one of the topics that he has chosen, and I also loved it, is that we want to understand how many different cultures in the world they worship their ancestors, and also how they are also worshipped in Sanatan culture or respected in Sanatan culture also. So we'll go on to all those things in detail. So let us welcome Sri Ravi Shankar, Sri RVS Mane.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Aditya is a personal friend, so he always speaks very high of me. I surely try to justify his words, but ultimately it is in the hands of Lord Ganesha, whom I pray always. Ganesha Icha.
So so according to many cultures, ancient cultures, it's a big thing to respect ancestors. Virtually every single culture has that area, whether it's Africans or Chinese, a big time Chinese, a big ancestor, But in India, it's done in a little bit different way. Instead of worshiping, it's like a ceremony which is done so that they can be elevated if they're in any difficulty or problem. So it's a different thing. So so first of all, if you tell us how many places in the world and where these things are ancestors are respected or worshipped.
I will come to that with a very small narration. I have many non-Indian guests. I don't know they have seen the film called Tare Jameen Per.
I
I
don't
think
think
that is
so.
the film.
I don't think so.
And that Tare Jameen Pe film, one the hero says something that in a particular island in the Pacific, whenever a new tree is coming up and they don't want the tree, they start abusing it. Huh? And later on, the tree does not grow, it fades out, it falls out, it rots, or whatever it is. It doesn't grow up. You may say, why this relevance of this point? Aditya, let us go to my first few sathology concepts. I had said it about the matter and energy.
That's right.
We are all aggregation of matter, which is driven by energy. Shiva Shaktya Yukto. Shiva Shaktya. Shiva is the matter, Shakti is the energy, Shiva Shaktya Yukto. That is what we had underlined.
That's right.
So when that matter is DNA, so our ancestors, see, we know that even the plant is also a particular set of DNAs. It is also a particular set of, it had a living being, but by slapping it or by abusing it, they kill that plant. Similarly, this is a sort of a Icha Shakti. We had also discussed about this. Icha, the power can be transferred through Icha, Kriya, or Jnana. Icha Shakti is my own motivation, intention. You must have seen a lot of sportsmen, they psych up themselves. They get their adrenaline through that Icha Shakti. I will do this. That's the Icha Shakti. We wish children good luck when they go for exams. We wish our own friends good luck. We say many happy returns. These are all my good wishes for you. My good power is being conveyed to you. It is Icha Shakti. Similarly, by doing good acts also, that is Kriya Shakti, work done. I'm generating energy through the work. Third is by the Jnana Shakti, the power of knowledge by virtue of which you go on to create create things, manage things, and get that type of a thing. So this is the three levels of Shakti. So when you have a Icha Shakti, first you write a mission statement, that is also Icha Shakti, I will do this. So this is how the one is the statement of mission, then the action points, then the technology required for that. So this Icha Shakti has come. This Icha Shakti, in the case of that Solomon Islands or whichever island they said, in the Tare Jamin Pe, is a negative Icha Shakti, so that they keep on hitting the DNA and it dies out. At the same time, if you curse somebody, it is a negative Icha Shakti. I praise somebody, I motivate somebody, I vision back, it is a positive Icha Shakti. To that extent, we are on the same page.
Exactly. Yes.
It's a positive Icha Shakti. Now this, Pitris represent our own DNA, our own matter. Whether matter is there, it is not about life being there or our life have gone out of that, but the matter is almost my constituent of my matter is some 54% of or 55% of my father and 45% of whatever may be the composition, or it could be the otherwise also. My mother again carries to some other composition of DNA. My father also is a component of different type of DNA from his mother and his father. Like that, you go on and on and on. See, in the 12 generations, you will find you have got around 4092 DNAs into your body. So each of them are growing in a different set of combination in different households, may be known to us through relationships, may be not known to us. But they must have progressed. And if I want my DNA to grow properly, I have to give it Icha Shakti to that. In whatever form the matter is existent. Let us take the point of life or living being out of this. It is a particular matter. I am a composite. I have a component of that particular DNA in my DNA. So I give Icha Shakti to that by virtue of praying to our ancestors. This is the basic platform for ancestor play. Am I right?
No,
Any questions?
very wonderfully explained. Because I think most of the people, especially in the non-Sanatan Dharma faiths, and which we can understand Abrahamic faiths, they do not have these deep concepts. They call it they call it by different names, but they do not have the concepts of respecting their ancestors through prayers, because they have been told there is no second birth. And when you have no birth, that means you just rest in peace once you're put in the grave anywhere. Now, that concept completely gets defied if anyone prays to ancestors. They call it devil worship, they call it Satan worship, or they call it the worshipping of ghost. Now, this is the misconception people have. Now, how do you answer them?
I will put it this way. Is it a fact that my matter and energy, irrespective of what my orientation is, what my religious belief is, because they are, the Abrahamic faith has a iconization, a single God syndrome, and the God is all powerful, the omnipotent. Huh?
Yeah, nobody disagrees with that.
Okay, but we are into a different thing. Here, your own, basically, God is a aggregation. Human, it doesn't, Sanatana doesn't start from a particular concept of God. Sanatana says, Rigveda says, Agni Mire Purohitam Deva Prithvi. So the Agni is the power, energy, fire. Fire is the first form of energy the manhood, the humankind has found. Prithvijam is the first form of matter the humankind has found it. So this is the consortium of a power process or a power as energy matter continuum. Prithvijam, and Prithvijam means treasure or whatever it is, material. Prithvijam and Deva Prithvijam. So this is a sort of a consortium. You may have having physicists in this case, chemists or all scientists in this case. Can a work be done without movement of the? Now I'll take you to Newton's first law. A body shall continue to be in a state of rest or state of motion unless an external force acts upon the body. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Largely, I studied Newton's first law in 1972. I may not really be so
It
accurate,
has not
but it is a
changed.
fact. It has
Nothing
not
has
changed.
changed till now.
Because that's a fact, that's a postulate. Similarly, that means if a displacement takes place, if some course is affected, an external force, that is an additional force, has to be acting. In the given equilibrium, there is a equilibrium which is sustaining, which is what they call it. So it is a sustaining equilibrium. And that equilibrium is sustaining because of some pre-existent energy in that. You remove that energy, that equilibrium goes. This is also not contested. So in this time-space continuum, your energy process continuum, you have to see that. Now I take you to the fact that, having said that, similarly, what we mean to say is, by introducing the Icha Shakti towards a particular combination of DNAs, they will also be progress, and they will also develop and progress and acquire other material and non-material progresses through the life. But this fact is that the Shiva Shakti continuum, which I keep on talking, the matter power, the matter energy continuum is a pre-existent thing. It is a very natural thing. It is a consortium. That is the reason in the Sanatana, if you take, Lakshmi is the consort of Vishnu. What is Vishnu? Is the representative god of sustenance, representative god of maintenance, our sustaining ourselves in this world, and also sustaining in a sustainable manner. And what do you require for that sustenance? What is the commensurate energy required? Is the Lakshmi, that is the resources, Sampatti. For creation, the God is Brahma. Brahma means creation, simple. To create, what do you need? You require skills, competencies, knowledge, etc., etc. Who is the representative goddess of that? Vidya. Vidya Brahma. So that energy is Vidya, competence, this is that represent, my skills represent this energy. Jnana Shakti I spoke about. And the commensurate act that energy is to be used for is creation. So this is the format of Sanatana. In this format of Sanatana, we are taking it forward, the ancestor worship. Ancestor worship had been prevalent in prehistoric days also, before the advent of this Abrahamic religion, in different places, like as you said, in China, in Africa, in Southern America, and all that. There have been instances of ancestral worship, and this is because they were driven by animism or whatever form of practices they used to have, whether it is a, call it a religious or it is a tradition,
No, I
as
feel it is
ancient
very,
heritage.
yeah, I
It
feel
was
it
a,
is, go ahead.
please, please get.
I feel it is very natural. Like, for example, even today, most of the schools they teach about the history of the life of Einstein or the history of science. Very logical. Because unless they recognize the past, they cannot recognize the present. And if they stop this practice in future, nobody is going to recognize them. So
Perfectly.
everybody wants to be known in future too. But if you stop the practice for some ideological stoppage in your belief, from some derived social practice, but the same thing is going to happen to you. Your future generations won't remember you.
That's what I have been saying in a more You have been saying on a one individual microsome matter. I'm saying in a more holistic matter that
Right.
the DNAs have to be infused with DNA is a state of matter that has to be infused with energy so that they prosper, they grow. The DNA grows, or it grows in whatever form, whether it is form of recognition, Yashobala, Chandrabala, Suryabala, Tarabal, whatever energy it acquires in whatever form, in whatever progress it takes. The 22 forms of Shaktis are there. Buddhi, whether it is as a brain, the DNA is able to generate geniuses, top scientists, or a top business, Lakshmi Rupena Samstha, or progressive persons like Vritti Rupena Samstha, or Smriti Rupena, the most computer chip type memory with the people, or maybe any other thing. Even the illusion, the Bhranti Rupena, the filmmakers. What the DNA is going to produce, I don't know, you don't know. But we are certainly sure that it is going to be a yasho, it is going to create or what something to infuse that power, that DNA. It may be my son, it may be my brother's son, it may be my sister's son who is carrying another set of DNA. My son carries a particular set. So by infusing this strength into the part of the DNA, how much of investments I am doing, I don't know. But the investments do happen in terms of energy. What is investment? When I invest money, it is Lakshmi Rupena Samstha. When I invest my skills, it is Buddhi Rupena Samstha, like that. So that investments are happening. That is why the traditional societies always had some sort of a ancestral worship. What you have been saying in the very larger context is a single one-to-one man, that if I don't go back to my parents, my children won't carry forward the legacy. That has derived from this overall concept of science.
It's a great
Huh?
explanation, Dr. Mani. It's a really deep insight into this, connecting it to DNA. I think this is the first time people must be hearing it. Now, another aspect is the faults of not respecting your ancestors. A very common quality, ingratitude. When you do not respect your ancestors, you're ungrateful. Very common. It's a very common human concept. Everybody wants to be grateful to others. We are all taught, but we do not practice because somebody has told us from somewhere, some institution, that no, you have only one life, live it and die. So, like, almost made the human life as insects, that there is no progression. Like, when we say human life, then we always say that it's the most luxurious form of body which is given to us by our karma after 88.4 million species. Now, in this human life, you can make the biggest solution to yourself by spiritually elevating yourself. A dog or an animal cannot learn spirituality. It is impossible because their brain faculties are limited. But in human life, you have all these things are unlimited. Now, if you do not use this human life for making a better future for ourselves and for setting a great example to our children, how respecting our forefathers, respecting our parents who are may not be here on this planet is important. Children get those values and they continue the tradition. Now, but just by saying that once I get into the grave, it's over, nothing else is there, what it doesn't give values to your children also. First of all, it's not commonsensical because you can see that everything in the world grows back. You cut a plant, it comes back again. So it defies intelligence, and which you put it very well, very, very nicely. So now, what steps people can do who are forced to abandon this kind of tradition in their own families?
See, this basically they can be able, if it is possible, certainly they can go back and look up at their roots, the genealogical trees, find out, and also perform whatever is prescribed in their respective beliefs. If nothing is prescribed, Sanatana does not The Sanatana does not stop you, people of other beliefs, to come and do propitiation of their own ancestors at whatever place. And let me tell you one thing, the minimum in a Sanatana propitiation, whether you do it once for all at the place called Gaya, where Akshaya Vriksha is there, where Falguni river also is there, where it is supposed to be the Falguni river is also supposed to be the mother, representation of mother. That is one part of the story. Why I am saying is they will do the Shraddha by feeding minimum 3 people. The 3 people are see, basically the matter we don't know in what form it is existent. But Vishwe Deva means energy that is floating around. Vishwa means the entire universe, Deva means the God or the manifestation of God. It is a manifestation of energy. It is spreading all over the 3 universe, 3 worlds, the world, the Sanatana, in different particles. In what form we don't know. We can only through enormous meditation realize that level. But we have to raise our to that level. So in Shraddha, the first guest is Vishvedeva. So we have certain Rigvedic as well as Yajurvedic chants, by virtue of which one of the guests is personified as Vishvedeva, as a representative of Vishvedeva. Second is this does not bar any non-Sanatani believer also to come and do it, and he can see a lot of results. I will tell you what all the results could be. Number two is the number two is the person who is the representative personified of your own DNAs, your own lineage. He is the actual representative of your own ancestors. And the third is known as the Shraddha Devata, and Lord Mahavishnu is known as the Shraddha Devata, because the maintenance of all these Vishvedevas and in whatever molecules and whatever atoms they are floating, or microsomes they are floating around, as well as your own ancestors' particles in whatever form. Atma has gone and taken shape in the other body. To that extent, we don't know where. In addition to Atma, the other thing, Atma also it is propitiated. So Shraddha Devata, he has to ensure that the entire sustenance of the processes and packages happen. So that is the reason Vishnu. So 3 persons, you have to give them whatever offering through the chanting of mantras, chanting of the recitations as contained in the Rig Veda as well as the Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda, and the thing can be revived. This is one part of my solution. The second part, you asked a very relevant question. That question is, people who don't know or whose beliefs don't support it, what do they do? I have already told you that when I do propitiation to Surya through Aruna Prashna, I ask, Vasunam Adityananga Swane Swatejasa Bani. Swatejasa. That means the radiance of Lord Surya is also, let me partake of that. The 12 types of Surya's radiances in different ways. Atilohitanam Rudrananga Stane Shvetasha Bani. Like that I keep asking, let it also be consumed by me. So I know the power of that. It is something I have told about this in the Sandhya Vandanam also. Sandhya Vandanam, we are empowering the power which is coming in the fission, nuclear fusion like that, Kala fusion, time fusion. In the Aruna Prashna, I am asking the sun directly, kindly bestow me with your radiance. Kindly bestow me with your powers. Tejasa power. Tejasa, Vajasa. So Tejasa, the radiance has to come into. There are, of course, 132 Anuvakas. We will do it later. That's one part of it. I'll tell you one very simple thing. If a person doesn't go to school or college and doesn't have no education, what is his state? Let us assume.
Yeah, probably no future.
The future is the for a current template.
Yeah,
He is ignorant.
correct.
He doesn't know what he has lost. He doesn't know what he is missing. He doesn't know what he has lost. But if a person who goes to the school, studies up to say a matriculation or an intermediate level, he is able to realize that like education has these benefits, it has bestowed. Sometimes consciously, sometimes even unconsciously, he will be able to write his name. As and when he raises your level of education, education is a very modern template. He is able to do, achieve, and do much higher level of performances. As you said, future terms also, he gets better jobs, more opportunities, etc. A postgraduate from a university will get much more opportunities in front of him. What is an opportunity? It is again a empowerment process. He will have more money. He will have his children will get more because children again the DNA process comes. A poor man who doesn't have any energy or any power left, his children will be again the same DNA goes into it. It is not just material, it is even in this act. He will start with the handicap. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like that, let these people, wherever it is feasible, whenever it is feasible, begin doing prepuciation in whatever form, it will have a very, very positive effect. Now I have another small answer to you. One more submission. Sanatana has got two types of propitiation. One is the seva, service. Another is the sadhana. A person living in a faraway land or in any land where these type of avenues are not there. These type of avenues are not there. Till they get or they create or they achieve, till the avenues do come, or till the time they are able to go to the place where there are avenues that perform these processes, they can do seva, service. Service by going to the contributing, going and spending a day with orphans, going and spending a day with ill, spending on their food and all that. Food is the biggest empowerer of any man, any Atma. The first thing he requires is food. And the first Annapurni, the first food giver is your mother. So this we have already discussed. Stay with them. Get their Icha Shakti. You naturally you give them food, they will give you some blessings, good wishes. That is the Icha Shakti for you. Keep on adding your aggregating your Icha Shakti. Then you will find yourself in a slightly better position to reach a level where you can go over to the avenues where these are. This is religious neutral. As I said, Surya Namaskara or Vishnu is all belief neutral. They are there. Shiva, Shankara, Shankaroti, Shankara is all belief neutral. So they can do this. So this is what those who do not, who have been missing it, can do right from now. Any questions, please?
So one of the things which comes up is Ichha Shakti, you said, which is the power of desire, the power of desire, which is Ichha Shakti. And what I have heard many times is that the power of desire is the only power we have most of the times. And it, so you are emphasizing on that in a big way. Now, some of these people, they've been indoctrinated that when people believe in such esoteric topics which they cannot perceive, they themselves cannot perceive, then they are going astray. That's a very common saying, and this kind of mindset is coming in India and even China and other countries which have traditionally followed this. And there's a very famous picture of some Chinese soldiers graveyards, and they put cigarettes as an offering because they might smoke in the future, and which was as per their belief, they thought they will do that. And even the pharaohs of Egypt, if you see the pyramids there, they packed a lot of lunches, the nuts and the gold and the jewelry, so that people may use them in future. So it's a very traditional concept in all these places. But the social dogma which is attached, that if you believe in something like that, it is very esoteric, it is totally impractical, nothing comes back. So now what happens is people also go away from the topics of karma, which is very important. Because now when you are dealing with this topic, is go away from karma, then you create a socially irresponsible person because he doesn't believe in karma, his own actions. So he's doing so now. This kind of non-belief in such commonsensical things like respecting your ancestors leads to sankara, or unwanted population, or the I would say unwanted traditions, where people are going to work whimsically with no self responsibility, because not everybody has a chance to meet a great learned man. So the concept of karma also goes away, whether for the past or for the future. So the responsibility of the state or the law enforcement or these bodies increase tremendously, because now they have to find a criminal who might commit an act which is not socially. So it's a deep repercussions. So it's not just you're not respecting ancestors, but actually you're spoiling your entire future DNA, future whatever you had. And I am sure that one point of time the originality will come out, but it will be a long time of unrest. Can you please comment on this?
See, you spoke about karma. What is Newton's third law? And you enlarge it. Newton's third law may be for a material purpose or a material context, but that has a universal application.
Correct.
If you break the law, you will face the consequences. If you take drugs, it will have a problem. If you don't follow the thing. So that is the reason I said I always emphasize on one mantra of this thing. Bhavani. Bhava means exist.
Correct.
Bhavani is his concert.
Correct.
Bhavani is his concert. The power which allows the existence. Shankaram, the work done, the process of working, even in a state of rest, when my some work is one day, if you pray to them, Shraddha. Shraddha means commitment. Vishwas means belief. So these are all the four icons. Existence, the power of that drives the existence, the good deeds. Shankaroti, I have not said kara. It is Shankaroti, means do good work. That person who got good work. Shan means positive, Karoti means work. Iti Shankara, that's what they say. So four quadrants you have to follow is respect the existence, the respect the power of existence, respect the have a lot of Shankar Vandev, Shraddha, commitment, Vishwas, belief. These four things are very primary to be our taking it forward, and this needs to be inculcated through these type of processes, propitiating the, because unless and until you don't have a belief and a commitment towards your own DNA, how are you going to bring up your own child to be a very uh, illustrious personal, not even a normal law abiding citizen also, you require that. So these deep-rooted ramification, you said it is a very dangerous which is lurking upon us, but nothing will happen because, as we always say, whether it is Atanmane be Pratidanye be Shavo Namo Namo, or when Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Duskrita, when the systems and process are getting almost finished, Dharma Sanstapana, to restore the order, Aham Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. That means I come, one of you, I will come and recast it, restore it, and I come in the form of some existence. So that fear which is lurking, when it goes to the limit, as he says, when the processes are totally challenged, paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya, vinashaya, it is almost challenged on the stage of extinction. I will intervene. I will means it is only to explain it to the simple or ordinary souls. But the more larger point is the process of nature itself will take a recourse and reintroduce, whether at the microsome level or at the macro level or at the mega level. So to that extent, now things are getting revived from the. So what is a majority? What is the Sanatana Dharma? It is the aggregation of all of all the matter, including human being, animal being, everybody, or the 80 lakh living beings or whatever species or whatever it is. Aggregation of that is Sanatana Dharma. Everybody is a matter. Everybody is a power.
No,
So that is how it has to be seen.
this was one of the most scientific explanations of why we should respect our Pitara, our ancestors, and just and that is not in deed, but it also in spirit as well. So that it's all seriousness it must be taken, and leaving these old traditions for anyone. Somewhere we have all been connected to this eternal concept of righteousness or Sanatan Dharma. We all have been connected, we all believe in it, we all speak about it, but why not start following it? And whatever the wrong dogmas we have been taught, that this one life, this ends when it went to the grave, or we are burned, our body is burned, that is incorrect, because the spirit soul lives on. Just like a very common saying is there in Bhagavad Gita, that you see a child growing from a small boyhood to adulthood, and then dying, like, so within the same body we move. We have a different body when we were born, and so you cannot take that birth child photograph on the passport and go to the immigration officer. He's not going to say you're not the same person. That's a baby, but you are the same person. You've grown into an adult. The same logic applies here, that transmigration is very easy. And did move from Pitra because I think we are all going to not live here eternally, and we would expect our future generations to remember us, that yes, we did something. And but if we stop the practice ourselves, we are actually cutting the same branch of the tree on which we are sitting. And you can give the closing remarks on this, but it was one of the best scientific explanations of Pitara Puja, or respecting our ancestors.
As I said, that growth, I started with that film, Hindi film's narration. I again reiterated that if you want your future generations to go, even if they have not been born here, but they are in some state of matter, please upgrade the power of your DNA, which you have inherited from our own great ancestors. By propitiating those ancestors' DNA, for the same DNA, your child, you can see it, you can get it validated that the child which will be born to you, or which is your own children who are born to you, who have a different part of your own DNA being carry forward, at least this percentage of their DNA will certainly get empowered very well, and that will be sort of a unknown force which will make them achieve, this will make them creators. We don't know out of the 22 levels of powers which which power they are going to acquire, but the energy will certainly seep into their DNA by virtue of your own propitiation of ancestors. That is what I wanted to say. So I'm sure people will be benefited by this. I have said my say. But I thank you very much for this, Ganesh Aicha.
Thank you, Arvis Maniji. So, viewers, you watch this exciting discussion on respecting or worshiping our ancestors, and also for our own identity purposes. Also, it's important. And also, we discuss Pitra Puja, scientific reasons behind Pitra Puja. So, please do watch it, comment it on YouTube, and if you like it, subscribe and share with your friends. Namaskar. Thank you.